roll call. Smith,
That's me. Yes.
Volko,
That's me here.
Strawson,
Here.
Kennedy,
Yep.
Quigley,
Here. Parsley.
Parsley. Quorum. We have a quorum. Next on the agenda is the review of the minutes from last meeting. Does anyone have any changes or alterations they want to make? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve last month's meetings as they are printed.
I'll second that.
Kennedy,
Yep.
Welchko,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Strawson,
Yep.
and Quigley, yes. We'll present the town bills if you want. We'll look at those first. The park fund had expenditures of $599.87. Town fund was $3,792. Any questions or concerns regarding that? If not, can I have a motion?
Move we pay the bills for the town.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Welchko,
Yes.
Strawson,
Yep.
and Quigley, yes. Move on to the road bills. Building and Equipment Fund has a $681.42 expenditure, that's for 2 months. Then we have $1,310.24 for the Road and Bridge Fund. Any questions? Any concerns?
Nope. Where's the sheet on the road thing that you sign when you look through them?
Anybody else want to look at any more bills?
I looked at them.
Well, keep it down.
So it wasn't on here, so the bill wasn't paid for the chipper. That isn't a bill that you would just automatically pay? Okay.
Any other concerns or questions?
Uh,
If not, can we have a motion?
I moved on the last two, somebody else can.
Hang on.
John's waiting. John wants to hang on a minute. He's looking at something.
I'm just looking at it, trying to get caught up.
Okay.
What do you need a motion for?
To pay the road bills.
A motion that we go ahead and pay the town,
These are road.
road
We're
district,
on the road district. yeah.
on the road district.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
Smith.
Yeah.
Belchko.
Yes.
Strawson.
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Quigley, yes. Town budget versus actual report, you have that in your packet. The ending balances for each account. For the general assistance account, August balance was $66,109.64. Park fund, bank balance was $1,988.20. And the, town fund is $42,508.78. For the road district, for the building and equipment fund, it's 16,000, bank balance in August was $16,445.44. Joint bridge fund, balance is $84,777.85. And the road and bridge fund is $348,214.95. One thing I still have to receive the paperwork on that deposit back in June. I haven't gotten that yet from Travis, but hopefully it will be coming soon. I have gotten a report from Aaron's security alarm system. They sent me this information today regarding the security system that we are looking to get. This is their proposal. This is a one-time fee. There is no monthly fees to it or annual fees. The equipment is purchased by us, and they come in, install it, set it up, and basically what it would be is 3 cameras inside. There'd be 2 in this area and 1 in the file room. A 4th camera would be on the outside. They recommend this corner so that we can see along this front wall as well as the gas tanks. they're they're proposing two different systems here. One has a little more pixelation, you know, the one's a 2 megapixel, the other one's a 5. One is a 1080p high definition with an 8-channel video recorder and 2 terabyte hard drive. It would have its own power supply and backup for the battery, as well as a variable focal camera lens and infrared night vision. The total installed price for all 4 cameras and equipment would be $2,500. The second option that they gave us was 5 megapixel. Excuse me. The second is a 5 megapixel with an IP camera system containing 8-channel network. It's basically the same thing, only the 3 terabyte hard drive versus battery, and the battery backup is accordingly. With a 5 megapixel fixed eyeball for the outside with infrared night vision. And that would be $2,950. That would secure both inside and outside. I haven't had a chance to talk to Travis to see if he wants anything in the shop. We could always add a camera if we had to. The system is expandable. But most of the other systems and companies I spoke with, there's a monthly or an annual fee for their system. This would have a 30-day loop of video. It is motion detector and again infrared. So these are the 2 options that Aaron's gave us. What are your thoughts?
Kind of a warranty.
The warranty is 5 years. Unless, you know, we get struck by lightning or something like that. But that would be covered with our insurance, of course. We put this on Torma as soon as, you know, as soon as it got put in, we notified Torma so that they'd know and add it to the policy.
Can you speak up, please? I can't hear you. Thank you.
So they can, you know, do that. Any thoughts on what you're seeing here? Do we want to go elsewhere, look around? These guys were the most reasonable of the ones. They are the only ones that sent us an actual information. This is not a proposal, it's just, he gave us these prices because this is, he'd give us a formal proposal before actually doing the work. But he felt these 2 would probably do most of what we're looking for doing. Do we want to table it for next month? What do you want to do?
No, let's do something.
I like the 5 megapixels.
If you're gonna spend that kind of money, what's another 450?
Let's get the better one.
That's what I was
We don't have a cop now, so we can afford it.
So I will contact Justin, and see how quickly we can get this installed. Do we want, one quick thing. Since there's already a camera outside, do we want to remove that one and put this one up?
I don't know anything about that camera outside,
Okay.
so I can't answer that.
So we'll go with the outside camera as well. All right. Do we have a motion then, please? That we go with the proposal for the 5 megapixel camera security system from Aaron's Alarm Company.
I move that we use the 5 megapixel, whatever that was called, from Aaron's.
I'll second it.
We need, and he's gonna give us a formal proposal.
Correct.
We can look at that.
So this is something that won't be installed by next month?
if you approve it here tonight,
He can
Yeah.
install it anytime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we
and
know,
then he'll provide us a proposal.
do we know what that camera's from? If it's on
No, I have no idea where that camera came from.
it was here when we got here?
It was here 3 weeks ago, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago it appeared. And it appeared about 3 weeks ago, I have no idea where it came from.
It's a mystery.
So, order
What's
please.
recorded?
It's, no, we don't know that. All we know is it's there, and we did not approve it or put it up. Okay, Smith,
Yes.
Welchco,
Yes.
Strawson,
Yes.
Kennedy, Quigley. Yes. Okay, the TOI conference is coming up. It is the 11th through 13th of November. You can attend or you don't have to, but it is, I did attend last year. I was very impressed with the variety of information that you can gather and the different subject matters that are available to be learned and attend. Anybody here interested in going? I know Sarah has voiced an interest.
Where's it gonna be run? Hotels and all that?
I think it was about 400 out last year with the registration and
It's in the perspective.
hotel. Yeah, it's in the perspective.
There's a form to fill out.
You fill it out, yeah, and then we can send them all in together.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Kathleen, were you going to attend again?
I'll be in Louisville, I won't be able to.
Okay. Anyone else interested? Do we want to make a motion to pay for the bills of those who do attend the conference, please?
I'll make a motion, we pay for the bills to go to the conference.
That's not on the agenda.
I'll second that.
TOI conference.
Pay bills for people going to TOI conference is not on the agenda.
We're discussing the conference.
Yeah, discussing it and paying the bills are two different
Taking
things.
action.
If you will look at the top of the agenda, items listed on this agenda are subject to discussion, vote, and action.
Doesn't say paying the bills.
Okay, John made the motion. Who's seconding? Rich? Please, order. Okay, Kennedy,
Yes.
Strawson,
Yeah.
Welchco,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Quigley, yes. Park ordinance. Kathy, we talked about this. I don't remember exactly the changes. Did we bring that?
That was the one that Bob brought to our attention when he was in charge of the parks.
Okay, or Jim Rock, you mean?
Yes, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to make the board aware, we're going to review these policies and ensure that we have a clear action that can be taken, not just, right now they're policies, they're not ordinances, so we're gonna clarify those and get them made into our ordinances, so that we
Hold
have.
on, I wanna back the truck up there.
Okay,
I wanna ask you a question. You said we can't discuss the TOI conference about paying the bills, is that what you just said?
I never said that.
Then tell me what you said.
what I said was, it says TOI conference, discuss and potential action. To me, that would say, you're gonna talk about the conference, when it is, and decide if anybody's going. Paying the bills of the people to go is an entirely different thing.
So if you wanna back up here to A, where it says bill presentation, we should only talk about the bills and not pay them, correct? Because all it says here is presentation.
Well, you know, if you wanna get picky, then.
Well,
We can
apparently we do wanna get
If
picky.
you wanna get picky, we can get picky, I mean,
Let's have it.
so, yeah, I would say, my opinion, you're presenting the bills. The only action you can take is to receive the bills that were presented. You can't pay them, so don't write the checks.
So even though we got there, they're subject to discussion, vote, and action, that means nothing?
You acted on the bill presentation. You received the, here, I'm presenting my bill, well, thank you. That's the action that you actually wrote on the agenda.
Okay, so we shouldn't pay the bills
What's so
tonight?
hard about writing pay bills? Or,
I guess when we put up there that they're subject to discussion, vote, and action, we assumed that covered it all.
well, I mean, you guys do what you want, but it's similar to FOIA, officer support. What's that mean? Does that mean you're gonna hire somebody to assist a FOIA officer, or you're gonna all give her a round of applause and
I don't know, we haven't gotten there
mutual
yet,
support?
maybe we'll wait and see.
Because that's where you have, if you're gonna hire somebody, FOIA officer, hire an assistant. That's what you should put. And just like 5A, pay bills. 5B, approve financial report. 5C, vote on purchasing security system hall after we figure out how much loop time has to be in order to comply with FOIA, and I don't believe it's 30 days. So that's basically it. You just need to be a little more specific when you write things down.
Fine.
Okay,
Forward,
moving
please.
forward. Okay. The assessor contract, Mary, do you have some time Friday that we could meet?
After 4 o'clock?
Okay. If you could, we'll discuss the, we have a couple of alters and changes and items that we want to discuss about the contract, and we'll go forward from there. The FOIA officer support, we talked about this at the last meeting and said yes, we were going to get support for her. We now have someone who is going to be coming in and supporting her once a week. We also have someone who is willing to take on being a bookkeeper. That person is certified, and we can contract with her. She will do the payroll and taxation reports, as well as review and keep our QuickBooks up to date. It would be $130 a month is what she's proposing.
For which, the FOIA officer support? You didn't mention that, or? How much is the FOIA officer support?
You out of order?
Out of order, please. And if you want to know, free.
Thank you.
Ooh, what a
Or else
glare.
we wouldn't-
Woo, the
That's a
looks to
change.
kill. Woo.
Well, please listen when we're talking. If there was nothing brought up about a price, and on top of that, last month it was brought up at $30 a day, but we had somebody offer for nothing. Excellent.
Good to know. Yeah, you could have said that right off.
Anyway,
Yeah, you could have
bookkeeper,
said that.
excuse me, please. Bookkeeper, how do you feel about $130? That includes all of our payroll, taxes, and
Isn't that part of the supervision?
she's certified in QuickBooks, and she is an accountant, yes.
Can I ask who it is, please?
So, once we decide who it's going to be and whether or not this contract is going to be signed,
Like candidate A and B?
Who's the FOIA officer support?
order. So,
This is
is the board
dictatorship.
please, do you want to accept this offer or?
Before you were paying 65 for half services.
Exactly, so she'd be doing more than double the services and, you know, yeah, exactly. Okay. Can we have a motion then to contract with her?
Motion we contract with, the help.
Bookkeeper for 130, I'll
Who,
second it.
who is it?
For 130?
I'll second it.
Discussion, do you actually have a contract?
Not yet.
No, okay, so it's to go forward with.
Forward.
We're approving $130 a month for the
Isn't that
bookkeeper,
a
and we'll
supervisor's
sign the
salary?
contract
Well,
with her.
okay, I mean, so if we're gonna have a contract, we have to have that approved, but we need that written first.
Right, okay.
So
But
really-
our salary is set at 130.
Okay, so do you, I mean, is it a motion to hire somebody?
No, it's a motion to approve the 130 for the bookkeeper.
Oh, all right, and then we'll go out and look for one, is
Right,
it? Okay, I
right.
understand.
Right.
You already
Okay,
have?
so,
You are, yeah.
Rich did the, motion. Second,
I second it.
do we have
Roll call.
roll call, Strassen?
Yeah.
Strassen, yes. Welchko,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Joanne.
Can I ask why the lawyer's allowed to
So-
speak during public, when she's just a public comment person?
'Cause she's a-
We're not allowed to speak, why is she allowed to speak? Are we paying for her to be?
Do you have any manners? Any?
Do you?
Okay.
You're out of order.
You're out of order, and if it happens again, we're gonna ask you to leave. Old business, Bill, are you ready for your report, please?
Yeah. Last month, you guys asked a bunch of questions. We tried to go through and get some answers for you. Mr. Spinelli asked about the eye wash station, putting it out in the road shop. He's gonna have to talk with Travis. That's not our deal. Neil Bradbury, is that right? Bradbury? Are you here? He quizzed us about Hinsey Road. He said the road commissioner was unresponsive. Best we can do for him, if he cannot get a hold of, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
If you cannot get a hold of Travis, is we can give you Jeff Ronaldson's number. He's the head of IDOT for Will County. Would anybody like to take this number down?
I got it.
Good. Let's see here. Nick Esposito asked if Kathy was the park ranger or whatever that was. And yes, as a matter of fact, in 2010 with the old board, they voted her in to be the park administrator, ranger, whatever you want to call it. And at our first meeting, we went back and the taped minutes showed that we said, would you like to continue with it? And she said she would. So there you go on that one. Now we go down. Connie Forsythe asked. One of the questions she asked, and there's others that are later on down the list, is do we work for the public? No, we work for the township. One and the same, but just make sure you understand we keep the township's interest in first. That's what we're going to probably do. Some other ones. Lenny McCubbin asked about the handicap deal outside, parking. Again, we've pointed him out, Travis is supposed to hang them, he knows where the signs are. It's the best we can do on that. The supervisor's report, you were unhappy with the way the report is, did I get that right, Lenny? Because this was like in, not even shorthand that we wrote this. Okay, all I can do is direct you to Joanne. Joanne, would you like to address this one?
I put out the annual report. It's a transaction report. It covers every action that was taken, whether it's a revenue, an expenditure. It is listed by class, it is listed by account, it is listed by a line item. That's better than what we were getting in the past. I know what we got in the past, it was just like little boxes that gave a beginning balance and an ending balance and what was expended, and that was it. I thought this was much more detailed and much more, accurate
Yeah,
as far as, what the items were for. A lot of the things that were in the QuickBooks before didn't even tell you what the expenditure was for.
Joanne,
It just had a beginning and an ending, and
let
that was
him,
it.
let's let Lenny say what he wanted in her supervisor's report and see if it's feasible.
Okay.
My problem with the supervisor's report, if the person entering into QuickBooks does not have the knowledge to enter it properly and has to hire someone to do it, therefore it gives us the impression, and if not the proof, that those records are not correct, because if they were correct and you were, or whoever's making those entries was comfortable in making those entries, we wouldn't be hiring a bookkeeper. So therefore, me, as the general public, says, you know what, that record's flawed because you don't know what you're doing with QuickBooks. If not, you wouldn't be hiring somebody.
We've been through 2 audits though, 2 audits with nobody within the board.
Bill?
And nothing is coming up as missing, wrong, or whatever. That's all I can tell you on that.
We've already appropriated last weekend. We already appropriated,
St. Dixon,
last meeting, we already proved that what was posted and what was recorded was 2 different documents, okay? That right there leads us to nothing but fraud. Whether it's fraud intentionally,
not intentionally.
or being uneducated, or just not having a clue what the hell you're doing, just putting something out there because it's a deadline. And in my opinion, that's what's happening. We're getting it just because of the deadline. We're gonna throw something against the wall and see if it sticks, because these lemmings are not smart enough to realize what we're doing. If the information put in QuickBooks is not correct, we're not gonna get a correct information on reports and or budgets. If the information in there is assumed to be correct and the board says they think it's correct, then we shouldn't be hiring a bookkeeper for $130 a month. We're contradicting ourselves. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I don't know the answer to that, but I know where you're coming from. Going on to some other comments you had, you were concerned about a sergeant of arms. We're only gonna do something like that if there's continued disruption at the meeting. We're not at this point. It was just brought up as a talk, something to talk about.
My question was, what is a sergeant at arms?
Just somebody that is cheaper than a cop. Okay, that's what it is. You said the police officer is wasting money. We're going without it.
Good job.
Good job there.
Sherry Yakima asked if the clock on the wall could please be correct. I fixed it that night and I checked it when I got here tonight.
Thank you. Yes, I was gonna thank you and open
Okay.
comment for that, so thank you.
OSHA violation, poster not up. The OSHA poster is in the road district building on that side of the door, where the employees are at that will be doing work. Suggested about the Torrent poster, as far as I knew, it was on the bulletin board in here.
The Torma poster was there.
Well, it was last meeting because we looked afterwards. What else we got here? Carol Treadman was curious about the cold storage party down at the park, about Mr. Norton being there. He was a volunteer. Private parties, we're doing a review of the policy, as far as I can get you on that, because it's as much as I know about it right now. And you were curious about who's liable. We have in the contracts and I'll get this word wrong, Dran Sharpley, is that it?
Dram shop.
That's it. Where they buy the insurance, they prove it to us for $1 million. They have to have it before they can do anything down at the party without, or down at the park with alcohol. Let's see here. John Kraft asked, why at the public meetings were people at the counter talking and handwriting notes for what you're experiencing right now? We're gonna write notes on people's questions so we can try and find the answer and answer it the following month. Is that acceptable?
My question was, why were people whispering back and forth when the...
Probably because they couldn't hear what was going on at the time. I don't know.
When
I can only speak for me. But that's what we're going to try and do. Answer questions the following month. Because I'm not going to answer anything that I don't know the answer to. I won't do that.
Appreciate it.
Sandy Marshall. What constitutes a threat to the board? Anything that's, our answer is, anything that stops the board from performing their duties is what we consider a threat. That's what she asked last month. The no comment part you asked about, and I think I just explained that. If I sit here and I don't say anything, it's because I don't know the answer. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna give you guys a lie. I'll find out the answer for next month, but I will not open my mouth if I don't know the answer. Plain and simple.
But you're not the only.
But that's me I'm talking about. That's what I will do. The rest of them, you have to talk to them individually, but that's me. Connie Forsythe, officer present at each meeting. We finished that, that's done. Okay? And what are you gonna do if something breaks out? We'll just call 911. Simple as that. Let's see, wrong page. I think I've covered everything we did, that we had questions on last month that we were able to write down. Yep,
Park report?
that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We got one event, the 22nd of September, Jump in the Trunk, and the 15th of September, we have a canoe outing with the Potawatomi paddlers, which is free for anybody to join. And we picked up our last donated picnic table today, so I think that makes 10 donated picnic tables total for this year. That's it.
Any of the trustees have a report?
Yeah, I already blew my wire.
Okay. We'll open the floor to the matters of the public.
Please speak so that we can understand you.
Yes, Leonard McCubbin. First of all, why do we not be able to address the whole board with Kathy Kennedy leaving here?
That was by design, that's when I moved public comments to the end.
Right.
All right, I didn't hear you,
One
Lenny.
person at a time, please.
Why is it we open up public comments and you allow a trustee to leave when this is the meeting that they're supposed to attend to address the issues?
For $80.
Other than tripping her, I can't
$80.
stop her.
It's time to replace her, she wants to sit around here now.
Well, I'm just saying, other than tripping her, I
Understand,
can't stop her.
understand. All right, back to some stuff that was not addressed from 2 months ago in old business. There still has not been a debit card policy put out in effect. Debit cards are still in use. This has been tabled 3 months now, I believe. To me, it's being ignored for a reason because it's too convenient, okay?
I need to understand this. You're saying there is no debit card policy?
Yes.
That was set by the previous boards.
That,
Two boards in- two boards in a row.
to the best of my knowledge, debit cards cannot be used on a township level because those expenses cannot be approved. It's prepaid, not pre-approved.
There is a policy of no more than $200, and that was set by a previous board. We are looking into getting a credit, changing it to a credit card, but
That-
right now, we are working with what we have and what the policy is at this time.
If something's illegal,
And
don't
we're
you
going
stop?
to, it is not illegal, it is not recommended. And we have looked at that, and we've got it from TOI, we are looking at getting it changed to
I
a
would say at
credit
this point,
card.
it's time for you guys to change attorneys quick. Bookkeeping.
TOI is not our attorney.
Well, but you're getting some bad advice over these debit cards and how their transactions and stuff's approved. Bookkeeping, we're still not seeing any open bookkeeping coming out of the park. All we're seeing is a lump sum number.
Oh, you got a number? I didn't get that.
No,
No.
we didn't hear that even. We hear nothing coming out of that park. It's supposed to be generating revenue. We have the right to know what kind of revenue that's generating. We have a right to know what that park is costing us if it's not generating revenue.
So what you want is next month you want me to say, the park spent X amount and the park took in this amount.
Yes, and the balance in this checking account is X. And now I don't want you to do it. You've already said that you've got a park administrator. That's her job.
Park ranger.
Park ranger, yes,
That
excuse
wasn't
me.
my comment, that was what was used last month.
Okay. Also, when it comes to the handicap parking,
Hold it. You just basically want a balance sheet of the park is what you want.
bingo. An accurate balance sheet of the park.
From the park
And it's not a
From-
park district, as stated last month, I want that redacted.
Itemized.
statement.
As far as the handicap.
One person at a time, please.
As far as the
And
handicap
Mr. McCubbin, quickly, okay?
As far as the
You're almost up.
handicap posting, you mentioned that the road commissioner have to post it. Then in that case, I don't believe it's right for you to be able to put cameras up here. If you guys can't put a handicap placard up, then you shouldn't be able to put cameras up. And to the best of my knowledge, this building is not deeded to this board. This is Township Road building, not Township.
It is owned 50/50.
There's no, it's not, there's no.
That I would like to request a copy of the deed.
Okay, then my question to you on that then is, if you're saying that if it's more
Okay.
road district than town, we're gonna let them go on tonight.
Okay,
If it's more road district than town, why shouldn't the road commissioner be doing that then?
If it is a road commissioner building, yes, I agree, they should be doing, okay? But what I'm trying to say, if you're gonna pass the buck off to the road commissioner to put the sign up, then you guys have got no right to have cameras put up there.
The cameras are to protect everything of the township,
Understand
yours
that part.
and mine.
Understand that part, okay? Where I'm going with that is you're making construction an addition to a building. Both of them are additions to a building, okay? You can't do one and not do the other. Make one,
no,
you make.
We're not doing the one.
no.
I
We're hiring
think they're
it
saying
done.
You're presenting that. What I'm saying though, is if this building is not deeded to the township and it's the township road funds, then there is no right or no way to put anything up there the first time. And to the best of my knowledge, this building was paid off by the township road district.
Not all of it.
Wrong.
You're wrong on that.
That's what I said. I said to the best of my knowledge.
There's
Then
a-
you should argue
No.
I don't think it's 50/50 either, but it's a percentage.
Okay, that's what we're
But I
looking
don't
for
know
information here, Bill. Thank
I
you.
don't know what that is, but it is a percentage.
Okay, well, that's what we're looking for. Some information, some feedback. I appreciate that.
Okay, but I'm lost on why you think Travis shouldn't put up the handicap.
Well, no, that's what
You've lost me
I'm.
on
That's
that
not what I'm saying. If he should put that up, okay. But you guys are saying you're gonna put up cameras, okay? If you guys can put up cameras, you guys could also put up handicap stickers. And for your information, and the board, and for the board's information, I shouldn't say this terminology by lack of words. You guys pretty much knew that Travis was putting that camera up there. Because it's actually on social media where Norton walked out of here and he's standing up there putting it up.
I was not aware of it.
I don't do the social media thing. I can
Me
barely
either.
text, okay?
But what,
So
but what,
I
but
didn't
what
know.
I'm saying that, you know, we got some blind eyes here to facts. And that's a fact.
Well,
Well,
we'll get the handicap signs up somehow. How's that?
There you go. I'll put them up.
but the cameras in here, Lenny, this is the town side of the building, and that's what they're here for, is securing the
I
files and
understand,
stuff.
I understand that part.
We're not, you know, we're not
This isn't
doing
anything
anything
against
more.
Travis.
No, not going there
It's
either.
just
Okay.
simple.
It's
just
ownership of the
simple.
building.
We're on the
No,
same deal.
it's the ownership of the building portion of it,
Okay.
okay? If you don't have ownership, you can't make improvements.
You don't have ownership.
You don't have the authorization to make the improvements or the add-ons, if you don't have ownership.
It's
Well,
not
then-
really an add-on, and it's not
No.
really an improvement. It's
It's
secured.
definitely an
Okay,
improvement,
Okay, the three,
part of the building.
It's,
Did you
yeah,
ask
I
why
don't
we
know,
need to
I don't know if I'd go
all
that
of a
far.
sudden?
I think
Did
it's
you
just
ask why?
protecting what's
stop the
here.
debate.
All right.
That's what I would look at it as.
Well, yeah, I can see that point of view, correct, yes.
Okay, you got anything else?
Yeah,
Fire away.
what are we doing with unauthorized people in lockup area? We had,
Say what?
what?
unauthorized people in the lockup area, in the records room.
What is,
Oh, the file room.
Yes, why is
who's
unauthorized?
unauthorized?
I don't know.
Mr. John Norton.
Uh-uh. Okay,
No.
I'll go with this one. Any public person of this township is allowed in there as long as general assistance is locked up. That is the one thing that everybody in the public is not allowed to look through is general assistance. Anything else,
As long as an official
as long
is
as
with
there's an
them.
elected official here, let me put it that way.
Can I ask a question on that?
As long as there's, we're dealing with Mr. McCubbin at this point, please.
There wasn't an elected official,
Was
she was
there-
appointed.
An appointed official is treated the same way as an elected official,
So
and
is that-
that's
so is that
it.
public safety?
The office, Cindy, was an elected office. She was appointed.
But none of us
That's
are
it.
allowed to look at
No.
records, we can't get our FOIAs answered, and she's not ever here.
Let me, you're still on the floor.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, with those same lines, then am I also allowed to go back there and take a picture of records?
you may get copies of records if you want.
Yeah,
Then-
that I don't,
With the official
Not the
being here.
question.
I
That's
don't
not
know
what
if
I
you're
asked.
allowed to take a picture. I know,
One more time, Cindy. and
I'm
then
thinking
I'll
you're
ask you to
allowed,
leave.
and I don't know what the difference is between taking a picture and getting a copy, because you can take a picture of the copy. That's that fine line thing. I honestly don't know. I can't answer that.
Is there a difference, Carrie?
No, I mean, if they wanna take a picture of a document, as long as there's no exemption.
So I can go back there and take a picture of any document I wanna take back.
Except general
As
assistance.
long
Except your
as, as
assistance.
long as it's a non-exempted,
How do
document,
we
yes.
know
And
that
assessor records?
those were not accessible at that time? Only thing
The
we know as the
official,
public.
the official is the one that's going to be responsible for that, Lenny, and it's not a point of
Because the
debate.
clerk does not have a key for general assistance.
Okay,
That's
well,
locked
I
up
hope
and
not.
only Joanne, the
Okay, now
supervisor, has that.
see how this came about? Is our clerk bonded? If she's allowing people back in a lockup area with secured information, by God, she's liable for anything that leaks out of there, and by God, she should be bonded.
But the Freedom of
No.
Information Act allows the
Yeah.
public to inspect.
Not at
public
free
records
will.
If they want.
If there's an
It allows
official.
them
If
to
there's an
inspect
official there.
public
I can go back there
records.
and dig through the files,
If
as long as
there's
this
an
is one of these
official
people are
there
back there.
if there is an official present.
It's two totally different things.
No, we're on the same page.
No, if you're allowed to inspect public records. If you file a Freedom of Information Act request, you can go back and inspect the records. There's difference between letting someone in, just ferreting through all the files.
That's my point.
Right,
And that's
okay.
what was
Okay,
happening.
I wasn't getting that from you.
Yes, that's my point,
Okay.
okay?
Someone was back there alone, just going through
Not
records?
alone,
No.
you know, accompanied by his daughter, which is
And
our
his,
township,
clerk.
which is our township clerk.
Okay.
Okay.
So there was an
This-
official present.
This building was rekeyed at one time, we paid a lot of money to have it rekeyed to keep him out of here, and all at once we're turning him back in.
Yep. You said that yourself, John.
And you
We-
just said as long as they
we
FOIA for the
read-
information, you can go back there. But if he hadn't FOIA'd for any information,
Please,
that's what we're
point
asking.
of order. The keys were changed on this building the first day we moved in here, not by me, nor this board. Neither one was contacted about the changing of the keys in this building. Travis did that before we ever got here. The only time those keys were changed is when there was evidence of a attempted lock picking.
Which you said
And there was, that was done at that time. This door had a padlock put on it because we had the ability of somebody using a card to open that door even when it was locked. And it was found open by Travis and myself.
I can
And we
buy
put
that.
a padlock on it
I can buy that, I'm not being argumentative.
because we did not want anybody picking that lock with a credit card.
Right,
Okay, we're past that now.
So, that's it.
yeah.
Now, next,
Anything else, Lenny?
moving on.
Yes,
Next.
do we
No,
have,
let's let,
No.
let's let him finish, Joanne. Let's
All
get
right.
it out.
do we have copies of the Graham Rubman insurance, Graham Schropp insurance?
Graham shot.
I'll get it, you got it.
I couldn't get it and they said it to me.
Bars at.
Well, yeah, there you go, you had it in front of you.
I think,
But what my question is there copies of that insurance on file here for everyone that served alcohol at that park?
It has to be.
That's,
They can't get the
that's,
person
that
I can't
reservation
answer
without
wasn't,
it.
that wasn't my question, Joanne. That's
he
just-
asked, he asked,
is
is there
there?
one here? Not there should be. Is there a copy of that here?
It's with the records, I believe. I would
That's
have to
something that has
go
to be
look back
looked up.
there, Lenny, to make sure that they
do I-
did
do-
in
do I-
the past,
do I
but I
have-
know since we've been here.
Do I have to
they
FOIA that, or can I actually request that and be
You can
presented at
walk
the next
in
meeting?
here and set up an appointment to meet and see these records anytime you want.
That's not what I asked. I says, do I need to FOIA that, or can I
No,
request it to be done
I
next
just
meeting?
said, all
Yeah.
you have to do is
That's not what
walk
I
in here.
asked.
Oh, yeah.
You can come in here and make
I
an
know that, but
appointment.
that's not what I asked though. I asked if I can have them presented next meeting, so we can all see it.
We'll see if we
Well,
can find him.
Thank you.
I'm not sure I understand, but
He just wants to know if we can have him for the next meeting.
That's all I got, thank you.
I don't-
Thanks for the additional time.
Okay.
He's coming out of your pay.
Mr.
Okay,
Your name?
John Kraft.
Thank you.
First, I wanna talk about the formal proposal for the security. And I'm glad you're putting in cameras in there, and I wish you'd done it a long time ago. You said that was just a general, statement of how much he would.
He was
sell.
giving us two options.
but then there would be a formal proposal later.
It would be an invoice with it, a more,
So it's not a formal proposal later.
no, this is the proposals, the two options he's giving us, but he's going to give it to us in a more, he just
Basically, it would-
emailed it to me rather than giving me a company, letterhead.
Under the Freedom of Information Act, how long do you have to keep security camera video footage? It's FOIAble, it's subject to FOIA.
Correct.
You can't just let it disappear and get overwritten after 30 days.
No,
I know our sheriff's department is like 45 days, or maybe even 90, I'm not sure.
no, the Public Access Counselor's Office has held that when it's a security loop on a video camera, that if it's recorded over in the ordinary course of business, you don't have an obligation to maintain it for longer than what the loop would be.
So you could get a 2 megabit hard drive and loop it every 15 seconds and you'd be good.
Well, in this case, it's 30 days. As I
Well,
read to you.
video footage is, and I understand what you're saying, video footage is a public record. Just like police body cam footage and dash cam footage, they can't just get rid of that after 30 days. If there's an incident especially, they have to save that to go along with any other court cases they're working.
The way I understood that is though, that every week or 2 weeks, whenever it's gonna be, somebody will come in here and go through it, and if it's just routine stuff, they're not gonna worry about it. If there was an incident, it'll be saved on a US somebody,
USB.
yeah, USB.
It'll be downloaded if
That's the
there's
word
an
I was looking for,
incident.
downloaded. Is that,
That
are we
answer
in
your
line doing
questions?
it that way?
I don't know, I'm gonna check and I'm gonna research that, and I understand what the AG PAC office has said, but I don't, they've been wrong before.
It happens.
They've been right most of the time, but they've been wrong before. Another thing, there's no such thing as a township park ranger or park administrator.
I was just using the term that was used last month.
I suggest that the board, by giving a township trustee any title or authority in that park, is not in compliance with the township code. Because she is getting some type of benefit by being able to go there and push her weight around out the park. Boss people around, tell them they're doing something wrong, tell them they can't fish, whatever. Even if it's a mental advantage over other people, she's getting some benefit, and therefore she's working for herself as a township trustee, going there acting as the police officer, for lack of better words, of the park.
So you're saying that instead of having a elected official kind of be the head of that, it needs to be a civilian, for better lack of
There
words?
is nothing wrong with going and checking up on things. All of you should be going and checking up on things. But there is something definitely wrong with going down there and acting like you own the stinking park when you don't, as an individual person.
She does do that.
The person cannot act without authority of the entire board. And you can't just give them authority off of a resolution that was passed and approved in the minutes from 2010.
Basically, the way I understand it, when this position was created, it was mainly for somebody to take care of the, whatever, what's the word?
Step up and take charge.
Just somebody to
and,
take care of,
wait
you
It's
a
the
know.
rules, and if that's her role as a park chairman. And
Yeah,
that
just kind of,
is
you
the
know, if somebody
title that
wanted to
was
rent it,
given.
if somebody wanted to be there, whatever, wanted to camp, whatever.
Instead of
Park-
hiring an employee.
Instead of hiring an employee
Yeah.
as the public, a township
That
official,
was,
she is the
that was
park
what it was
chairman.
intended to be. What it's
And
gotten
that's-
to, I don't know, because I'm not involved with the park.
But
It's gotten to the
Okay.
point to where it's gotten, and
So,
Designated
Yeah.
park ranger.
Okay, I got a couple more
I was
items.
just using the term that was used last month, I didn't know what her actual title was.
that title, by the way, was given to her by Dan J.
I got a-
In his attempt to get her to take over the park chairman.
I've got a couple other items. The filing of false police reports has to stop. It does nobody any good. It makes public officials look like, you know, I'm not gonna say it. But, and then you get into why do they file false police reports, knowing them to be false. And you can, a person could eventually, after a series of events where there was no reason to call in a police report, let alone lie about it. that
Do
it
we
could
know
be-
that that's happening?
Huh?
Because I turned in 2 police
I'm not
reports
talking about you.
myself.
I'm not talking about you.
But I have to say this, John, what's to say what you think isn't a justifiable police report, somebody else doesn't think it is?
That's where I'm finishing. And over a series of events that are proven to be wrong, you know, it could eventually lead to intimidation by public officials through them, which, you know, is in the criminal code, by them using their position to file things that aren't true against individual residents of the township, which would lead to them intimidating those people into not coming here when they want to, intimidating them from going down to the park, and other things. And especially if they're passing little notes around, calling people child molesters, or even alluding that they're child molesters.
Or
when
calling
they're
them
far
child
from it.
molesters to their
Okay,
face, like I got
okay.
called last time.
I got 2 more comments.
Okay, quickly.
FOIA. There are tons of FOIA requests that are unanswered, and people are losing patience. And when they lose patience, they bypass the Attorney General because they like to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years to answer a request for review. So they start filing their own FOIA lawsuits. And no offense, I would rather you not get rich off defending FOIA lawsuits, just because the FOIAs are not being answered.
What we're really hoping is by doing what I did tonight, by going through and answering these questions, we're hoping that helps eliminate some FOIAs. We're trying to get the information you want out there. It's the only way I know how to start.
Well, here's an
I don't
example.
know
We
if it's
also
the-
have the website that is being
Yeah.
uploaded too.
I don't know if that's the correct way, but we're just trying this.
Here's an example. After the last meeting, I submitted a FOIA request to find out how much money was donated to the park. That trustee Kennedy said money was donated, but nobody would tell anybody how much at the last meeting. And guess what? A month later, I don't have the answer.
Well, I'd
How
ask her,
hard
but
is
she's not here.
How hard is it to go check the deposit slips
Welcome
at the
to our
bank
club.
and say, hey, trustee Kennedy or whoever deposited $248.52 from donations to the park? Is it that hard? Or, you know, if I wait another month, maybe I'll just file a lawsuit and you can pay your attorney a couple $1,000s and then pay our attorney $5,000 or $6,000 and a $2,500 civil penalty to get me the answer that you accepted a $200 donation, which is ridiculous. A simple answer, even at the meeting, I wouldn't even have to turn on the computer and send a FOIA request.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in this, Joanne, since the park is not its own entity, it's part of the township, so all money that would be donated would be handed or somehow given to Joanne to go in
And
the
it comes
account.
in cash, that cash may be for the camping fees. I have
There
no
should've been
idea
some
what part
records.
is what, as far as how much, but if you wanna know, it was $11.
Yeah, so, well, that would have been nice to know.
Only because she was able to document it, and it was presented here tonight.
I got more than
$11.
And
I
So
donations,
I-
donations.
Yeah, who donated the picture?
we
She
had,
said Sue.
we had,
That's just what she said.
Wow.
Anything else, John?
So a donation is a donation. I'll take a dollar donation from 10,000 people. I'll be happy. Somebody, I was probably not in this room right now,
Wait, let me look.
Yes, he is.
sent a message
Yeah, you can retract that, they're probably in the room.
to our website specifically naming a resident of this township as being a pedophile, who is not a pedophile. And we have the IP address, and court action is being taken. And when we identify the owner of that IP address, just like we identified the former administrator at Northern Illinois University who decided to do that crap with us.
He got fired.
Yeah.
Well, what will that have to do with us?
They, I believe, they're either an elected official or a relative of an elected official, and I'm hoping it did not come from one of these computers in here. I don't think it did, but it needs to stop.
Well, okay, once you find out who this is, and so you tell us who it is, what are we supposed to do about a resident of the township that decides to do that?
They both have yellow shirts on.
Because I believe it's probably a pretty close person, if not the same person, that might have passed some notes down at the FAR, or might have stood here yelling at somebody's camera, I'm looking at a pedophile.
Again, what are we
Sometimes.
supposed to do about it as a board if a citizen of the township does that? What are we supposed to do as a board?
Consult with your attorney.
Okay?
You can't do
Okay,
anything
we'll
about
do
that
that.
as a board, I'm just.
Anything else,
That's
Mr.
for
Pratt?
general reference in case somebody here might know the person, and I'm not saying you do, even if I'm looking at you, I'm not saying that you do.
I don't
Okay, is
do
there
that.
anything
Just
else?
focus on the person that's.
I don't do
responding.
social media, so I
So,
wouldn't know.
so just
Any-
let that person know that nothing on the internet is untrackable, everything is traceable,
Okay.
and you don't really have to file a lawsuit, you do. a
Duly noted.
discovery prior
Duly
to a
noted,
lawsuit,
thank you.
which is what usually happens, so.
Anybody else?
Anyone else?
I'm not running this, you are.
Yeah.
I'm
I was
just talking.
gonna ask you, just, you know,
I'm just
where
talking
did you
loud.
step up here, sir? Okay,
John Norton. By the way, February 2014, Dan J and I actually went to zoning mapping, land use, recorder of deeds, and with Will County Clerk. Both names are on this building as of February of 2014. My signature's on it, copies are at the, I also filed with Will County Engineer's Office, Sheriff's Department, and there's a file folder back there
Okay.
that has that in it.
thank you.
Question, why was township resources being used to mow state right-of-way and private property?
Road district.
Don't have any answers for that.
Yeah, that's a road district because I saw the pictures and that's the person doing it and he's not here to ask. So I can't answer you on that.
Oh, okay, no, just,
Okay.
I'm asking, so when, if and when you do see him, you can ask him when it was done. Also, who is the FOIA officer for the road district currently?
Travis,
He is,
yes,
has he completed the course for FOIA?
yes. Certificates up here on the wall.
I keep it.
Every one of the officials from this past election have completed that, Including-
Or the open meetings act training?
both. They completed both.
Oh, that answers the question. But yes, the, J and I went in through back in February of
Okay.
2014.
Gotcha.
All right,
And we
thank
moved that
you.
over. And that was under the agreement, road district still paid for the land and the building, and we shared the utilities, almost 50-50. All the county engineers' reports and that will show, we would alternate back and forth every other month, who paid the electric bill, the heating bill,
Okay,
and
thank you.
the,
All right,
and you guys cover, the township covered the phone and the internet access.
all right, thank you.
Irrelevant.
Next.
By the way,
Is
I am
there anyone
Spartacus, if you know the reference.
Excuse me, we're still here. All right, Sir, or ma'am? I was trying to get
Does he take
it
a
out of my head.
You?
Mary,
Okay, sorry, thought you were looking at Vicki. Mary Jones. I don't know if everybody's aware, I am certified. I have my certificate.
Yay!
congrats.
Point being, we do not have an assessor at this point. She was done the 31st of last month, and this is appeals time. I do not know
That's why
if
we
I
need
am
to meet,
allowed to
right.
come in still, since Vicki's not my boss, she's not anything. I don't know where we stand, or when you plan to appoint, or what to do.
Okay. Like I said, we need to meet on Friday. Okay?
But even if we meet on Friday, are you calling a special meeting to appoint?
If we have to, yeah. Yeah, but we need to talk about the contract.
Okay, we need to talk about the contract, and
Okay.
I've got a few questions.
Can I interject something here? I don't know if this is legal or not. Can we appoint her tonight and come to an agreement on the
It's not
contract?
on the agenda,
No, it's not on the agenda, is
I
it?
believe the
I won't-
assessor contract is on the
Yeah.
so
agenda.
I won't let it be.
The assessor contract is on the agenda.
The contract is, but the appointment is not.
Yeah, the appointment's not, so we can't.
With that
Good
in
job,
mind,
Mary.
when you were talking about how it should be worded, since I've done agendas for 6 years, when you had bill presentation, if you would have just put "and authorization of expenditures," that would have covered it. That way you're
Anything else?
presenting them and you're giving the authorization to go ahead and pay them. I mean, you're close. What else? You're talking about FOIA, and anybody can go in the back and take pictures of records? Was that the way you worded it?
No, I said that people under the Freedom of Information Act have the ability to request copies. So if they want to come in and, they also have the ability to come in and inspect the records. So if you want to come in and inspect a record that doesn't have confidential information on it, or with that redacted, you can take a picture of it versus making a copy of it.
Okay, that time you said, as long as it's not redacted or has confidential information. You didn't say that before, that's why I was asking for clarification. Because you definitely have to protect the information. So no one should be just going and taking pictures or looking at the information. The security system, I'm kind of confused, because I thought last time we talked about protecting those of us that are in the building, especially when we're alone.
They're in here, well, cameras in here.
Yeah, the cameras are in here
Is that, does someone see it
immediately.
in real time and
Yes.
can do something?
Yes.
I was under the impression it was,
No.
you said a month later.
It's both. It's going to be sent out to, immediately. The motion detector will kick on. If there's any action in here, it will be
But
sent
what if I'm in
to,
here?
it will be, if you're in here, you can come in and that's no problem. But if somebody comes in upon you.
Yes, if you come in, it's
if
gonna
you-
activate it.
It's gonna
sold if
activate
somebody
it
else
and
comes
then it gets sent out to my cell phone, Travis's cell phone, the clerk's cell phone, and that way we'll know. And if there's anything of any issue, all we have to do is make a phone call.
But my point is, if I'm here, yes, it's activated. If someone comes, knocks in the door,
Right.
what does that do for me?
No different than if it's at your
As
house,
soon
I mean,
as
you
that
still
door
gotta wait for
opens up,
somebody to come.
or this door opens up, we're gonna be notified again.
Nothing,
There's a flaw
it does
there.
nothing for you.
Then are the police
There's a,
notified
there's
immediately?
a flaw there. If
I'm
this,
worried about
this is
the
not
timeline
tied
and
in to the
something.
police
I
department.
understand what
it's
you're
useless.
saying, but that's, right now, that's what we got. I mean, if we wanna go with the $10,000 system, we can go there.
Why are we worried about the equipment and whatever else and having a camera on it rather than the people in the building? I thought
That's
that was
where the
the main
cameras are gonna
purpose.
be,
There's
is
gonna
in
be
here.
3 in here, Mary.
There's-
But,
yeah,
and I
they're
know what
here.
you're saying, you want a direct
gonna
feed
do
to the
me no-
cops?
Yes, it's gonna be no good if,
who did it.
I don't know if they, are the cops gonna wanna look at every time somebody walks in the building? See,
Can you lock the door when you're here by yourself?
I'm just,
He hit it,
panic button?
yes.
Something that
Yes.
you could set up, if she felt insecure or unsafe, that she could,
Yeah.
and
You
that
You
would
can
alert.
always-
If I can address
You
this
can
real
always
quick,
add that on.
there's a simple solution to it, very simple solution, it's called Simply Safe. And you can put a panic button from ADT and go right straight to the police department for a smidgen of the cost you ever spend it.
Smidgen. Anything else?
That was my main
Still
thing.
need surveillance in here for,
Yes.
even when nobody's here, just, well, I mean, obviously somebody would be here to trip it, but I mean for
That's
somebody
what-
who's not supposed to be in here is in here.
Can I speak? I just purchased a system, it's 4 cameras, 2 terabyte storage, it works on 24-hour record, and it records motion. And then it holds the motion for 60 days. And you go in and it does the alerts on your phone, everything it does. It's 4 cameras, 98 feet at night, infrared, does everything. It's only $300.
Does it have a looping,
Yes.
recording for 30 days?
60 days.
Well, this is it hardwired?
It's a power over Ethernet. Yes, it is hardwired.
This is not. Because our
Gonna have
Wi-Fi
battery
and
backup.
our system here will not support that.
It's not Wi-Fi.
But
It goes the camera right to the hard drive. And my other question is, who has
I'm
access?
sorry, your name, please?
Karen Wilson. Then what do you do with this hard drive? Where is it gonna be at?
It's gonna be here in the building.
Under lock and key?
Yes.
Yes,
Other than the back room.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We enter another safe in the back.
Any
I
other
actually had
questions?
a couple more, but.
Fire away, Mary. Or ask Joanne.
Actually, I was planning on doing the TOI conference, but
Okay. Well,
there again,
add
I
your-
don't know if,
Add your list. We'll put you on the list.
if I'm included.
Yes, any of you can come,
And,
the officials.
I think we talked before, and I still haven't seen it, a copy of the audit that was presented
October,
from Mac and Associates, the last one.
Mac and Associates?
Yeah, the one
We
we
The
got.
ones that-
haven't, we haven't gotten that Mac and Associates from last year you're talking.
Yes.
Yeah, we got one
Should we
last
not
year.
get- Right.
Yeah.
And there's usually in there a
It's
letter with
usually right here.
recommendations as to, you need to change this and this and this as part of the audit. And it's something that we should be able to get without FOIA-ing. And I haven't seen one.
The management letter,
Yeah.
Pardon?
the management letter.
Management letter is what she's talking about.
114, 115, I'm not sure which one, but and that might help answer some of the questions as well. And I think I'm done.
Okay.
All right.
I just have a few quick questions.
And you are who, Sandy?
Sandy Martin. Park ordinance. Under park ordinance, I have who donated the table. Just as an FYI, you know, it'd be nice to know. I asked Kathleen on the way out, very nice thing, she told me, sue me. That was my answer, so just so you know that.
She's already.
The FOIA officer support, who is that going to be, or is that a secret?
As far as I know, it's, one of the residents here in town, the township. Have you made that decision between the two, of which there's 2 that have offered? So that we're waiting for the person to call back and say, yes, she'll do it. She had offered to do it, we need to solidify, solidify it.
So I'm
But
waiting.
there are 2 people who have offered,
You got background check?
and we have already got them. They have been a FOIA officer in the past,
So
in
Sandy,
both
that's
cases. So we'll get the name to you as to which one responds.
And how about the bookkeeper, who is that gonna be?
Until we get the contract, I have to put that out there and get the contract signed.
No, you don't.
But you can't even say who the applicant is?
It isn't an applicant.
Who is it?
We
What is
offered,
it?
we offered the contract out there, we just approved the amount of money.
Now
So you
Okay.
don't have a
Now,
percentage?
now we're going out to,
Yeah,
we're going out there. Well, most bookkeepers in this area are she's.
but, okay, well, not all. Okay,
No,
so-
I said most, I didn't say all,
Yeah,
because,
I know, I'm just saying, you know, but, So we don't have a name there either?
Not yet,
Okay.
it will be announced as soon as we have it.
When they hire
Okay,
them.
my
Yeah, when
other,
we hire her.
my other question is, the water at the park, is that potable water?
No.
No,
Then why is there not a sign there?
I thought there was.
I thought there was too.
Well, I gotta
Yeah,
make sure.
there's
there's
not.
Non-potable water
There's
because
not.
it's not a pressurized system.
Right, but
Exactly.
there's no sign that says that, John, anywhere out there, does it tell you,
Will you check
you
that for
cannot,
us?
Yeah,
I got,
I can
I
check
can
that.
show you.
Thank you.
Just one sign that
It
says.
is
Yeah,
out
Yeah,
there.
it's
I
non-potable
took
water.
the pictures this morning.
Water, we don't know.
Okay.
Cooking with it and
All
drinking
right.
it.
If you cook with it, it is potable.
Yes,
Boil it.
Yes,
Boil it.
but it
Yes.
doesn't say, you know, not,
You have to have a sign at each outlet?
that you can't
There's
drink
only one
it.
outlet.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
and,
I've been
right.
yeah,
well.
It has to
Okay.
be a pressurized system to be
Yes.
potable, and it's
Exactly.
not. It's a yard height.
Anything else,
Exactly.
Cindy?
That's it, that was,
Okay.
that was just my question,
all right,
Yeah,
sorry.
Is there an official name?
Got another one,
Yeah.
Joanne?
one more.
Hydrant.
Oh, hydrant, okay.
oh, you can talk.
Carol?
Okay, I just wanted to make one thing clear,
And
Bill.
you
I
are
was
who,
not-
Carol?
Carol Treadman.
Thank you.
I was not just questioning John Norton being at the park. I was questioning John Norton drawing beers at the park. Anybody. Kathleen Kennedy was cooking at the park. Those were the questions that I had. How liable are we when we have a trustee or John is not? I understand that. But it wasn't, my question wasn't just because John Norton's at the park doling out liquor. So are other people. And
Well, first
the
off-
liability there
Okay.
is,
I do know
What's
the
my
answer to half of
question?
that. I know half of that answer.
yes.
It was not beer, it was root beer. It was
Out
in
of a
a,
kegger?
Yeah,
it was in a root beer keg.
Oh, okay, well, we'll believe that one. I understand.
story I
what I'm
got.
told.
And,
story being
and I don't know
It's the yellow.
Maybe
the
our
big
attorney can
groupings
answer.
in yellow.
if you're volunteering, I don't know if you're liable as a trustee or as a town board if you're volunteering. I don't know how that works. How does that work?
Well, I don't have any facts actually about what this was. I mean, was this?
They had out
It
at
was
the
a
park,
closed
one of the
park. They
was an event.
closed the
companies
park
in
for an
county had
event.
a party out there. And two of the trustees volunteered, just, I don't know, they just did.
And the group that had the party had insurance for it?
Yes. It was full story.
We haven't
But
seen it. We haven't seen
They
the
didn't have
question is,
alcohol.
are
They
we
had no
liable
dram shop,
if
they
something
needed nothing.
happens and it's one of the volunteers happens to be a trustee?
Not if it's not an official function.
Okay.
Well, if they fill out the paperwork and pay for it, is it an official function?
Of the township, if the township is using
No.
the park?
No,
No,
No, I mean,
Cold storage was using the park. The
Right.
township rented them our park, shut it down to the rest of the township, so none of us could go in there, only cold storage could. Are we liable if something happens?
If our own trustees
Yes.
are there,
no, not if they're not there in their official capacities as township
And
trustees, if
she,
they're
and one of
volunteers.
them's
But she's
cooking
the
and
park
somebody
ranger.
gets food poisoning?
right, and I thought she was the park
No.
ranger.
She is
Or
the
park
official
chairman.
park
she got
liaison.
invited
She's
to
not-
attend the party.
She was cooking.
To serve?
And come on, Joanne.
keeping people from going into the park.
Right, she
Because
was
it was
also
closed.
standing at the gate telling us the park was closed. So, let's just call a spade here.
That's an official capacity, then.
I'm worried about our liability.
I
That's
understand
my
that.
question.
I understand you, but
she's saying that
it's
as
not
long
a
as she's not
township
there
function,
as a
therefore,
trustee or as
she's
a.
not
You are
there
a
as
trustee,
But
but
if she's
if you
turning
like it
people
or
away,
not.
then she's there as a township official.
It's that fine line thing, I
I
can't.
can't,
Right.
no.
That's-
Okay, my
I
other question was,
understand.
how much did cold storage pay? And I asked that last month, you had a whole month to figure it out, Joanne.
What the
No,
park
I don't wanna,
fee
what the
is.
park fee is.
What the park fees are is
I
what
would like
gets
to
charged.
know the amount that they paid, because I heard that they donated more than the park fee. So as a citizen, I'd like to know, how much
And I heard
did
that
cold
the
storage
township-
pay?
You did ask that, I missed that.
I did ask
No, I
that.
say that, I missed it.
I know, I'm sorry.
Sorry
I'm
about
trying
that.
to say it nice. It's a simple question.
And I can't answer that
There
now.
should be a
Well, I
deposit.
can't
That's my
answer it right
point,
off the top
is
of my
that-
head.
Bill, this is what we're trying to say when it
This is,
comes
but
to
this
the
is what
park.
we're trying to do.
But, yeah,
And
Yeah, but
this
a
is my
month
fault
went by
because I missed
and
this
there's-
question.
And it's
Okay.
not just been this month.
And
There's
it's not
no
just your
accountability.
responsibility.
It's not just you, Bill.
No, Joanne and I sat down this week and we went through all these questions and we dug and tried to find the answers. Yeah, I feel like it's my fault because it's plain as day and I missed that, how
But
much
it's not
paid.
just how much did cold storage pay. you say she makes deposits just, oh, it could be anything. It could be camping, you know, I've seen 7 campers down there at one time. Where are we holding anybody accountable for the $70 of illegal fees that she's charging? Where is that showing up?
You want the
somewhere?
itemization.
How do you know?
You want it itemized.
We wanna see that it made it
Yes.
to the bank.
We want it itemized and deposited.
That's all we're asking for is to see.
It is, okay,
When she rents it,
trust me
you
on
know.
this, it has been deposited, it has not been itemized.
It's been,
Alright.
yeah,
It's
it's
just
showing
been
up on
deposited
the
as
bank
an
statement
Deposit
as a
everything in one lump
deposit.
sum. If
Well-
I could work that way, you know,
Okay.
that ain't the way the world works.
But you said illegal fees, and that's not true. We are
Well,
not
that's-
illegally charging fees at the park.
That is
For the
up for
amenities
grabs.
that are being rented
That's-
and reserved.
You can
That's another
claim that
fine
all
line.
you want, and I'm
Yeah,
not
where
fighting you on
township
that.
code say-
That
I
part
know.
I'm not fighting
And I will
on
try,
at this moment.
I'll
I
try and
just
get
wanna
this for you
know
next month.
who, if she's the park chairman, should she not be responsible for the information coming from the park?
Won't
Who
that-
rented it? How much was it?
And
Where's-
won't that be turned over to the bookkeeper, itemized?
Right,
Should be.
Yeah.
you know, if you're buying, you know, bushes at $1,400 a month, we should see that.
Okay.
And receipts to the
That's,
people that give you the
that's,
money.
that's part of the
Right.
park.
If you rent, if
Reports,
you
yes.
are charging a fee to camp, you should get a receipt that you paid to camp,
Which some campers do.
and some don't.
Okay.
So that's what we're at, the box, you know, the fishing, the boat launch box. How much was deposited from the boat launch box? Nobody knows.
I can't give you
Well,
an answer
that's
now.
what we're saying.
That's what
That's
we're saying. We
just
just wanna
the
make
point
sure
I'm trying to
I get
make.
you, no, I get you.
That's
and
all I'm trying to say.
we'll
is
try and
that
get that, but-
nobody knows anything.
I can't answer you tonight because I don't know,
I understand that.
but I will certainly try and find it by next
Thank
month.
Okay.
I'm not gonna guarantee I can.
No, I know.
But I'll
Well,
certainly
good
try and
luck
find it.
getting
There was
anything
one
out
more
of it.
hand up,
There's more than
I
one.
could go for.
Who'd you call,
Whoever you
Joanne?
pick,
right over here.
right over here, expert
Behind you.
lighting.
Who are you?
We had more reports available to us last month than we did this month. And I would just like to comment that lack of consistency in the information being presented to the public has been an ongoing issue since I got involved in the township. So last month, we had, way more papers than we do this month. Last month, you know, we talked about the budget that was presented to the board was different than the budget that was presented to the public. The reason why I ask for the information is because I hate to say that, it's not like I don't trust you because I have trust issues. It's just that I have a hard time following what it is that you're doing or believing what it is that you say because the story changes all the time, just like the paperwork changes all the time. So I would just like to suggest, with all due respect, that the board develop a consistent policy for materials that are gonna be presented. I know I have FOIA'd, and I've gotten nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have asked for records that I know exist, and I haven't got them. I asked for filings to the IRS or Department of Employment Security and was rejected because there were personnel issues. No, they're not. Whoever is helping or doing the FOIAs is operating under some set of knowledge that is incorrect. So I myself have a dozen FOIAs
I
out
do
there.
have a question on the budget you say that was presented to the public and the budget that was presented to the,
Yes.
the board.
Yes,
That's the point of the public budget was presented to the board for revision at the public hearing. And we can revise that budget at that hearing any way we need to or want to. And I did give you the notes that I made on the public posted policy that I made changes on and presented to this board that night.
I do not dispute that. After much
Okay,
angst,
so then my concern is,
that
where
you
is
sat
the-
here
the-
as a board, looking at a
but the
different.
road district
Give
did
me
the
a,
same thing.
let me finish. you sat here as a board looking at a document that the public was totally unaware existed. How hard would it be to go through that document and say, you know, what was posted at the library had nothing set aside for the park. Here, we're going to make some changes. We're going to detail park spending by these 6 line items, and we're gonna add $11,000 worth of revenue, $25,000 worth of capital that we're then gonna move some,
think we
17
did
of
that,
it
Sue.
to.
Yeah.
No, if you
We
listen
sat
to
here and
your,
discussed where we were moving stuff so that we'd have more lines, so at the end of the year, if we needed to move something from one line to another to get to the end of the year, we were able to do that.
there,
That's what I thought we were getting across to you, not you, the public.
what was on tape, okay, spoke to the assessor and moving money from capital to legal fees. That was what was on tape, which is why it triggered the question in my head. I had the budget that was published for the library. There was no capital on there. You guys were looking at some that had capital on it. Where'd the capital come from? What was it for? How could I ask? I didn't even know that you guys were considering it. So, again,
Okay.
it's not that, you know, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but there are so many missing pieces of information. That's why all the questions come about.
It wasn't intentional.
No.
Well, I asked for it and it took weeks and it took months for me to get it from our supervisor, so I don't know whether it's intentional or not. Beside the point, I think with the building, you guys really need to ensure that you know who owns the building, because you cannot give property away without the consent of the public. So if somebody decided to take 40% of the building, where'd you go? And give it to the town because, okay, we're a team and we work together, it's not legal. You cannot do that without the public voting on it at a town meeting, because it's town property, township property. Also, based on Carrie Lynn's comment, the episode, or more than one episode, of Mr. Norton being in the file room is problematic. Okay, just so we put it out there. If I need to have a FOIA request for inspection of records, then before I can go look at records, which is I think what I heard you say,
We said that you could make an appointment to
She
come
said it.
inspect
She said it.
The lawyer
She was
said it.
right.
Okay. Well,
Well,
I'm,
there's not actually a requirement, I mean,
okay, well, make up, I need
Make
to
your
know what
mind
the
up.
truth is.
Okay.
Either I have to have a FOIA request to get in that room, or I can come in when I see Miss Sarah's here and say, hey, can I go look at the files?
yeah,
It
it
depends.
depends on how a particular governmental body wants to treat them. So to be entitled to look at public records, you can file a FOIA request and do that.
Uh-huh.
Do some public bodies handle it informally, and people come in and ask for records and they don't make them fill them out? Yes. So there's not necessarily a legal requirement that that a governmental body must require.
Well, we're talking
you to
about
do.
WESLEY Township's governmental body.
Is
Because
there-
if I have to
That's my
relate it to
question.
There's no one
someone,
ever here.
Doesn't it have to be consistent though? Doesn't it have to be consistent
You
policy?
either
You
do or
can't
you
waver back and
don't.
forth.
It would be good if it were consistent, definitely. Right.
okay.
Well, good.
Okay,
and-
anything
and
else?
correct
Yeah.
are two different things.
Is the bookkeeper you're considering Julie Quigley?
she's one of them.
Okay.
So we do know who.
And have you put that position like in the newspaper, have you advertised?
Yes,
Because I think I would
advertised.
like to apply for it.
That's what they were just authorizing tonight, what
Yeah.
the rates were gonna be, so they could see.
But they do have an applicant, she said, so let's give everybody an application.
How did that applicant get applied? How did she apply?
How
She's
did-
already our accountant
Okay.
and already doing the accounting.
How did they do
And-
There we go.
Damn it.
Okay,
Jeez.
that is not to say she's getting it. I don't understand
It
this.
wasn't a she, it could have been a he a minute ago.
I said it was a she, that the majority of them in the area are women.
Oy vey.
Okay, there is nothing here. other than the fact that we are going to hire a bookkeeper.
No, I
And
just
we got
asked,
that approved at this
asking.
point.
right, I just asked
But
if you were
you're asking me to
advertising.
name a bookkeeper and I don't have a name.
But,
Request an
okay,
app.
Joanne, I'm good with that, thank you.
Request an app.
But,
Gotta post it first.
yeah,
And then finally, I would like to just comment about the security. I think the security system, it's a shame, you know, it's a shame when I think about government, taxation, the problems with property taxes in Illinois, which are distressing to me. People have to move out because they can't afford their property taxes. And township government is a layer of that burden that we bear, okay? I might pay $400 or $500 to Wesley Township, but you guarantee, I feel every penny of it. I feel like I got a check, I got my tax rebate, because I worked as a clerk for a few months, right? We need to be, as a board and as citizens, ever mindful of what we're spending every dime on, okay? So we better, excuse my friend, we better be damn sure we need to drop a couple grand on top of all the other monies that we've dropped for police, for lawyers, for whatever has happened these past few months, before we spend any more money. There's more money going through the township, the town part of our budget. For what? What is the resident getting? What's the value? I don't see any value, okay? And I would just like to put out there that as the board, if you could please just keep that in mind the next time you pay, you know, anything. Whether it's Kathy Kennedy buying a plaque to put on a donated picnic table. That's $75 of public funds to commemorate something that she wants to do, okay? Or you're paying a $7,000 legal fee, or whatever the case may be, $150 for a bookkeeper, whatever. Please carefully consider that. That's all, thank you.
all right.
One more.
One
more.
question,
Couple more,
Two more.
four more.
Take out.
Yeah, hi. After last month's
okay.
meeting,
I don't even know who you are.
Nick Esposito,
M. Nick.
after last month's meeting, you guys stated that you were worried about the security of that room. I came in here the day or the day after the meeting and talked to Travis. Saw this door was open and the only vehicle out there was John Norton's. Now, I don't know that his daughter who works here, has to ride with him. I did not know that. I saw the door was open, so I started videotaping as soon as I came in. I didn't say anything to either one of them, really. It's all on tape. You can watch it for yourselves. Then he storms out. They're both calling me a stalker and a harasser and a pedophile. And then they went to the police station and filed a report saying that I was here harassing them and stalking them. I'd like an apology from Sarah right now for that false police report you filed.
You refused to leave.
Yeah, and I refused to leave. You never once asked me to leave. It's the whole thing is on tape. Your dad didn't say anything about calling me a pedophile to the police. You said I was harassing you and stalking you, which I did neither of. All I did was check to see why the doors were open and who was in the back room when I only saw Norton's vehicle out there. And I don't think there's anybody in here that can't agree that that man is a loose cannon at best.
Thank you.
Are you saying
Excuse
she
me.
filed a false police report?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, just checking.
and he said he was a road
Okay.
commissioner on it.
Yes,
As
he
far
also
as I
claimed to
know,
be the road
it's
commissioner.
still a legal investigation. I don't
So
know anything
you
further
asked
than that.
About what
And
could you do if
Thank you.
they're not a township employee? Well, now you do have a township
But-
employee filing a false report against a citizen for who's doing nothing more than come and
That's
check to
under
make sure.
investigation right now, Mike. I can't respond to that.
There's no investigation
There's
there.
no
There's no
investigation.
It hasn't been closed
investigation.
yet. Cops have been in on it, from what I've
Yeah.
heard, so we can't really say
We
anything until
can't
it's closed or
respond
whatever.
to any of that.
It'll get closed, they're not investigating that.
Very well could be, but we haven't been given that
Yeah,
information.
we
yet.
haven't got that information at this time.
Would you agree, Sarah, that I was not harassing you? I didn't even say anything to you. I asked your dad if he was allowed to be in
Okay.
that room. Can you agree to
Anything-
that at least?
Anything else?
Actually, she's going down.
We can't talk about it right now, Mike. We just got done saying that. We cannot discuss it at this
Until the
time.
case is closed, I cannot comment on anything.
So it's an ongoing case?
Yeah, you can,
Yes,
you
it
have
is.
first
It is.
amendment right.
As of today.
Good thing you had.
As of today, it's an ongoing case?
Yep.
So now you're saying you're,
We're
Gonna
just
file
saying
another
it's an
report?
ongoing case. We can't respond, Mike.
I can't respond
We've
to you.
said that, please.
The case is
Anything
ongoing.
else?
You can go to the police and tell them you filed a false report and withdraw it.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna take two more.
Come on.
Oh, no, there's more here.
Okay,
Sherry Yakima, are you pointing at me?
yes.
Sherry
who's
Yakima.
taking minutes?
All right, so, I just wanna start off by saying thank you for addressing the questions that we asked last month. I think we all appreciate the openness of that and for us to be able to even understand what's going on. With that being said, last month, I asked you to address the questions from the previous month, which were not addressed at all either. So is there any plans on getting back to us on those questions?
I don't have notes on those questions.
Okay. I can give you a list of them.
If you
afterwards
desire.
you'd like. Cause I have them wrote down, you requested a document.
Wait a minute, is there a lot?
There is, I can write it down for you, give it to you later.
That'd be swell.
Yeah, I can do that for you. So yes, there were several questions that were unanswered from the last meeting, or from 2 meetings ago. My other concern and question is, 2 months ago, I sent in a FOIA request. 1 month ago, I sent in a FOIA request. I've also sent in a question or inquiry about those FOIA requests as to why they haven't been answered yet and what's the status of them. On all 3 of those emails that I have sent to the township, I have not got any response back on them whatsoever. They were all very simple, straightforward things. It was nothing that needed to be dug for. It was all stuff that should be like right on the surface that you guys have probably in your hands right now. So I'm wondering why there has been no communication with me, why there has been no response to my FOIAs, why it's just like crickets and silence.
We'll get back to you as soon as we can get
I
this
can't answer
investigated.
that. I don't know.
can't answer it at this
Well,
time.
the clerk's right
I
there.
can't answer it at this time.
This is from before she was in, I think.
No.
No, it wasn't.
No,
No, then I can't
we
answer
will
that.
answer it.
Can she answer that?
Not at this time.
Why?
You speaking for her now too?
Guys,
Like
we
having
can't,
5 days to
we
respond.
can't remember everything.
If you,
We're
but if you
working on
have
these
5 days
FOIAs.
to
We are working on
respond,
these FOIAs.
okay, I realize that.
And we're
But
getting documents uploaded and we're trying to get everything out to you guys as fast as she can.
I
She
don't
needs
mean to be a
assistance with it.
naysayer, and I get that, but if we are hiring officials to be here at the office, I drive past this office at least 4 to 6 times a day between dropping my kids off, going to and from work and everything. 97% of the time, I do not see any vehicle here except for the assessors. No one is
No one's
ever
here.
here. So I don't really
We're only a
believe
part-time township. Nobody is
Part-time,
required
yes.
to be here
ever.
on a
Is
regular
basically what you're
schedule.
saying. No, you're right, it doesn't have to be a regular schedule, but there are plenty of people driving by this office daily, multiple times, and there's never a car, or, I'm sorry, rarely a car here. So you can't
Okay.
tell me, well, we're here on a part-time basis, because you're not even here.
Some
on
of the
a
stuff
part-time
is
basis.
remotely accessed
I don't
on their
have to be
computers.
here in the
Some
building
of
to
the
be
stuff.
functioning and
That's
working
great.
as
That's great.
a supervisor,
Then I don't
getting my work done.
understand why,
I think she's talking about the FOIA officer.
That's why they're hiring a FOIA officer.
why no, but the thing is,
We have a
I-
FOIA officer.
this has been an ongoing process. This is
She's a
not just,
volunteer.
oh, it just started. This has been going on for over a year now.
She
That I go through this every
That's
single
what I'm
time,
aware
and it's
of.
simple things I ask for, it's bank statements, it's approval, it's minor things that should be on the computer, just like, oh, click, copy and paste, oop, there it is.
Well, I think part of the problem is the volume of the FOIA requests that they're getting here. I know like one weekend, they received 29 FOIA requests over the weekend.
None of them got answered though.
And none of them
Not
got
even
answered.
answered, not
Right,
even
right.
anything.
So
Right?
of those, say
Right.
29, of those 29, how many even got answered?
None.
I don't know. how many.
Exactly.
But
So
I mean,
if you
that's
have
why what
29
we're
and
trying to do is
12
get
got
them
answered, you
actually.
could say, yay, you made an effort. But no one's making an effort, in my opinion. I've talked to several people who've also submitted FOIAs, no one's hearing anything, it's complete crickets. So anyways, that's just my concern with that.
Thank you.
I would really appreciate knowing when that's gonna happen. Also, was the second smoking sign placed, no smoking sign? Was that ever placed? I know we addressed that last time.
That goes on, we've got ours here, we
Mary
have
put
one
that on the
for
door.
the road district. but I
Right,
don't know
Mary
if
took
it is
care of
for
that, not, yeah, the public
There should be
officials,
one
right?
inside too.
Okay, and then the other thing, a couple more questions, plaques being put on the tables at the park. Spending $75 a plaque to put on the table, who approved that? When was that ever
As a
brought up?
board.
Was that brought up in front of the board
It
and
did, Bill.
meeting and approved?
It's in
John,
the
you
text, it's
approved that?
approved.
$75
It's
for
approved,
a
it's
free
approved here
donated table.
at this
I didn't
meeting,
think
the
so.
bills are submitted and we either approve or disapprove of them.
Oh, so they don't need to be
So they're here.
pre-approved, like brought in front of the board
You
and
would-
say, what do you guys
They're
think
approved
about?
here at the meeting,
No,
they're
that's not what I'm
presented at the
asking you,
meeting.
you're not listening.
Well, I'm listening, but
No,
I,
you're not. You're talking as I'm trying to ask you a question. My question to you is, do you guys discuss this and bring the idea up in front of the board and say, what do you think of the plaques? Or does Kathleen Kennedy take it upon herself to go out and buy everything and then bring it in front of the board and then you say, sure, yeah, go ahead, we'll pay that bill?
That's what happened.
I believe there, has been a history of the plaques being placed. And that
So
was
the answer is
discussed.
no, okay.
And the
very good.
FOIA email,
I
it's,
believe there has been plaques, and that has been the history, that the plaques were put
History
on
doesn't make it
donated
right.
items. And donated items to allow the people who.
Right, I know, and still my question's not being answered,
Okay.
but okay, I get it. Also, my other concern is with, Mick coming to the door that day, and walking into the door, walking to that room, he was told that he was not allowed to be in that room, and to leave. So I'm wondering why it's okay for John Norton as a citizen to be in that room taking pictures, but when when Mick Esposito steps in that room with an inquiry, why all of a sudden he's told he's not allowed to be in that room if it's open to the public?
When you go back there, you're going to be with the official. If she's back there, you don't walk in on her. You go in there with the official, whether it's Bill or Rick or me or whoever.
Did he
You
come
go
here,
in-
hold on.
Okay,
Did Mick come here, or Nick, whatever his name is, did he come here with a specific,
He was
He
talking to
was
Travis.
talking to Travis and
No, that's not my-
the door open.
to go to the back, did he
Because
have
the
a?
door
sp-
was open.
Because it was the
Did
day
he
after
have
the
a
meeting.
specific thing that he wanted
Yeah.
out
Yes.
of the back room?
Yes,
Out
what
of
he
the back
wanted
room,
was
out
to
of the
see
back room.
why the door was unlocked, because Joanne made such a
Yeah.
hiss
Stink.
about it at the meeting 2 days before
And-
about nobody being allowed in that back room. That back room is always locked, the files are always locked, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came to talk to Travis, he saw the door was wide open.
And the only car out there
The
was
only car out
Norton's.
there was Norton's.
He
So he
didn't know
walks to the
who brought
door,
it up.
looked in, and there was Norton snapping pictures, and she was yelling at him, he couldn't be back there.
Okay, so
But
that
no
was my
big-
question.
and
No big
My
deal.
question was just, why is it okay for one citizen to be in there and not another? That was my
I
question.
thought we covered.
It's okay for anybody to be in there that has a reason that they need
Yeah.
something out of there, not to just go in there.
what
That
did
was
he
his-
have to
that
get
was
out
his
of there?
reason.
So with that
What did
being
John have to
said,
get
with
out of
that
there?
being said, if we're sending in FOIA requests for information and we're not getting our FOIA requests, why is it okay for a family member to walk in and take the time away from the clerk doing FOIA requests to stand back there and take
And-
pictures and stuff? Why is it okay for him to
You're talking
precede
about
everybody
John?
else?
Yes.
Yeah, why is it okay for John
My
to precede
understanding
everyone
was,
else?
is that he went back there to carry a box out,
Did anybody,
Okay.
just don't.
is this an assumption that he was doing
No, it's
something
on
other?
film.
It's on
film.
I'm just
May I
asking.
ask
I would
my
like to
question,
know.
please? It's an assumption that he was back there taking pictures of whatever
She
you're
was on
concerned
the
about.
floor.
But my question is, why do we have to be worried about what she's doing or isn't doing?
That wasn't.
I'm not.
That's a question.
Listen, please, listen. You're making assumptions that things are going on.
No, he
No,
proved
I'm
it.
asking a direct question, I'm not
Okay,
making any
alright.
assumption. So then my last and final thing that I just wanna say,
Okay?
that as a township board, I think that you're held to a higher level of, maybe the way that you present yourself, thank you. And over the year, and I know I've mentioned this before in several meetings, I find it very disrespectful that board members sit up there, roll their eyes, sigh, cock their head, point their fingers at people when they get upset with what they're saying, raise their voice, talk in condescending manner to the people out here. I realize it's probably very frustrating being up there and to kind of maintain your composure, but I myself work in a professional setting and I've been put in that predicament many times, and I'm held to a higher standard than the people that I work with, and therefore I don't sigh, I don't roll my eyes, I make eye contact, I don't stare away at people. So I'm just asking that in the future, maybe you guys try to,
Good seeing you, Mr. Smith.
was it?
You gonna quit this time?
You walked out on me, that's
Are you quitting this time?
fantastic.
This one's
So
official.
anyways,
He's
It's
quit.
a signed
He quit.
paper.
Write it down.
what I'm saying to you guys is that I think
I
that you
don't,
can hold
you're
yourself to a
talking about
higher.
disrespect. You just
Like I said,
disrespected that man right there with
You
the
did, he
comments you made.
disrespected me by getting up and walking out when I was speaking for the second time, Joanne, second time.
She missed the first one because she wasn't in that meeting.
That's true, second time.
She
was
stood out
hiding in
here
this
and then,
office.
yeah, she hid out here.
I'm done.
Sorry.
Okay,
Can you give me a list of that when we get done?
Yes,
thank you.
I will make it right now for you. Oh, yeah, go.
Connie Forsythe. Joanne, when you got elected into this board, you said yourself, and I was not the only one that heard you say it, you said you didn't want John Norton hanging around here. Now, yes, you did.
Oh
I
my.
know,
You had
I'm
witnesses.
agreeing with you.
Okay, great.
I'm not saying no.
Okay,
But at the
So-
same point, I can't help that she needs him to bring her here.
Drop
doesn't
it
have
off.
to stay.
drop her off
30-year-olds
and
don't
come
need to
back
sit
and
there.
pick her up.
Excuse me, one at a time, please.
He can drop her off and come back and pick her up. John Norton did not get road commissioner because he is a very unliked human being and very untrusted human being. I'm sorry, he did that to himself. We didn't want him as a road commissioner, we didn't vote him in. He got appointed the first time he was road commissioner, or he never got voted in then,
Okay,
okay?
I agree.
Good. So why does he have to hang around here? And I get the real feeling, because we have videos of it. It can be proven in a court of law. I don't know what these gentlemen are being told, whether they're being told to write stories or not. Bill, I'm talking about you. If you really know what's been going on, really know about what went on with Mickey Esposito being called a pedophile, by John Norton straight to his face when Mickey did absolutely, positively nothing.
If you're asking me if I've seen the video, no, I have not.
Well,
No.
what I'm saying is,
We'll show
yes,
you.
it did
I'll play it
happen.
for you.
Everybody has seen it. What I get the feeling of is you're getting other people's stories of what really happened in their lives. And making us look like we're troublemakers, which we are not. All we've ever asked for. Yeah, I'd like to hear, we paid this bill. It was such and such amount of dollars, instead of, as us sitting out here, we get the feeling that the whole board feels like it's your money, you're spending, and we have no
Okay,
business
can
knowing.
I go on that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
We get these packets at the beginning of the meeting, which is itemized bills, like this one's, whatever this one's for, the road bills.
Right.
Okay, so we go through them as a board merely to save time. And then if we approve them, it's just whatever the total of all the bills that Travis has given us since we're on his file here, we just approve it and pay it.
Okay.
Yes, we don't tell you, he went to Gallagher Asphalt and got $188 here, he went to AHW and spent $400. We don't tell you that, just merely a time savings.
Okay.
You have to trust us somewhat to say yay or nay on the bills.
All right.
I
And-
would
and
like
that's-
you to trust us
and-
somewhat to say yay or nay on the bills.
And that's what we're saying. you know.
But you're saying you want us to itemize each bill?
No, I wanted to hear you say, this is why we do this, to save time.
Okay,
Instead of treating all of us.
that's why we
like
do it, to
we're
save time.
Stupid and ignorant and can let anything slide by us that anybody wants to slide by us.
And maybe
Basically,
have a
I thought-
copy of it out
basically-
there.
Yeah, or have
Exactly.
exactly.
Bill, years
Then you
ago
wouldn't
when your
have to
dad
answer
was on,
questions.
they actually printed out that on the old zip
could see
rocks,
it.
and that was laying on the desk for everyone to look at the itemized bills.
Don't think we had as many bills in the 70s as we do now.
Probably not, but that's,
Probably not,
But
yeah.
that- but
Some-
that was
we got better
older.
technology than we did back then.
Point well taken.
And my other point is, I get tired of hearing, this is what the old board did. Because you know what?
Their asses are gone.
That, just because it was done in the past, doesn't mean it's legal.
I'm not telling you
And
we're
we
doing it
have-
because the old board did it, I'm telling you that's, some of these questions date back to the old administration. So when I bring, what I'm trying to do,
Or
bring
me,
you answers,
Or any of us, because.
some of it I have to say, this is what, because that's who did it.
Okay, and right. And I appreciate the way you stuck up tonight and
Yep.
got up and talked to us. That's what we've asked for out of all of you. Joanne did make a comment.
Not trying to get applause or anything here.
And I'm not, it's your job to do that.
I guess Joanne and I
we
talked
feel.
about this last week, and of course I'll use the old farm boy analogy, you know, if you got a squeaky bearing, you throw some grease on it, it usually quiets down. So we thought if we could give you guys some answers,
That's what we've
That's what
asked
we're looking for.
but
forever.
I'm not gonna tell you it's gonna be all the answers you want,
Yeah.
And
Or
we
that
and I'm
you're
not gonna tell you
agree with them.
that I can find all the answers.
And we're not expecting that.
Well, we're doing the best we can.
We're
Yeah,
expecting,
we're working here trying to do the best we can. With some new things that we're trying to add in here.
as far,
Hopefully it works.
I have one more comment, and as far as Kathleen Kennedy, she's hateful. You don't go to the park and see the way she treats people. If I go down to that park and I'm carrying a beer can in my hand, but I don't drink, so she doesn't have to worry about it, she walks up to me and orders me. Kathy Kennedy is nothing to me. She's not gonna tell me what I can do and what I can't. Now, if she's looking over she can pick up the phone and call the law if she wants to. But she's going at things like she owns that park, and that's why she's getting so many people pushing back.
I can see where you would push back at that.
And that's the way she treats people down there. And then she gets up and if she doesn't wanna be part of this board, we really don't want her to be
A
part of it.
resignation would be in order.
Resignation would be fine. But for people to walk out of this meeting before it's over with or been adjourned, that's bullcrap.
Especially when
It's our
they-
tax money that's paying. That's bullcrap. I don't care if she doesn't like our attitude. I don't think might be one or two people in here that even like her because of the way she acts.
Well-
She can tell you people that she's doing this and doing that and is fine. She's hateful.
I'm gonna tell you this, Connie, I leave every morning at 3:30, so once it hits 9:30, you're gonna see me walk out too. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
Different story.
That's not.
It's a bit
Different story.
story.
You participated,
I
you
mean,
put your input,
But I'm
you've
just
done
telling you,
your.
if this goes on past 9:30,
We
you'll see me with,
understand,
that's
you'll see
fine.
dust behind me.
That's fine.
That's
Kathy
different.
Kennedy
Way
has
longer
walked
than-
out of
That's
every
not the same.
meeting.
Okay, well,
Public
yeah,
comments,
I can
but
only
she doesn't
comment on
wanna hear
myself.
what we
Yeah,
have to say.
And
exactly.
that's what she's saying.
And she
It's
pays
okay.
to stay here.
Mr. Allen wants to speak.
Thank you, ma'am. Name's Kirk Allen, and the trustee here on the end, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. They
Bill.
ref-
Just call me Fred.
Bill Strawson.
As I
Fred,
had
let's
mentioned
go.
last time, I do appreciate the interaction. I think it's a great start
Yes.
to address some of those issues. The interaction is priceless, and it will calm down, I promise you, as you move forward. One of the things that I want to mention for the trustees, and I'm confident that your attorney will confirm this, one of the biggest things we see from a government accountability organization is action taken without proper direction from the law. And one of the things I've always encouraged folks to do is simply ask the question, where in the law does it say I can do this? Where's the power given to me to do this? And try to get an answer to that question. And there may be times you have to ask your attorney that, and they can give you a citation or they can give you case law to support that. And through those decision-making process, you'll solve a lot of problems. The other side of it, and I apologize, I looked when I last several times, the township handbook. I know as 8 years as a supervisor, our entire board would sit there and thumb through the book when we had a question, and we would do a deep dive first in that guidance book. And then we would go to the statutes, and we're all adults, we can read, most of us can comprehend, and we were able to make decisions without having to go outside to get some legal opinion on matters. A lot of times the answers are there, but we've just never read it. Now, in regards to the bookkeeper, when the questions get raised, if you don't know a direct answer, man, I would encourage come back like you have with an answer that's written out. And the reason I mentioned the bookkeeper, early on, ma'am, you said that she's certified. That was a response that's an indicator you know who it is, because you already know that she's certified, but then later
I'm
too,
only looking at those that aren't.
you said she's certified. That's an indicator that
That's right.
you know who is certified. But later to imply
That's what I'm
you're gonna go
looking at,
look
yes.
for someone leads people to believe, well, which is it? You're gonna look for someone, or you already know the person you're looking at. And that's where the confusion comes in how that gets presented.
Okay.
So, table it, come back the next meeting with a written out answer, and it'll avoid a lot of this gotcha.
Thank you.
Because that's what happened tonight. The plaques on the tables, they may have been doing that for 50 years, but if someone's making a purchase and it's happening and then gets presented to be paid, it's kind of backwards of how it's supposed to happen.
Correct.
There needs to be approval to make that expenditure. That whoever does that doesn't have the power to just go out and put the township into a debt obligation, and then making board approval of the bill makes it all okay. That's not how it works. That's putting the cart before the horse. And my last comment deals with the audits. I do appreciate you guys have been through audits, and we always point to audits. Audits that most government audits, what comes in, what went out, does it all balance? Everything's green. They don't do a deep dive, and I use Dixon as an example. 20-some years, those audits came back clean. The auditor ended up getting sued over that deal and having to pay millions back. So don't believe that just because the audit comes back and you read it, it may not reflect activities that were fraudulent. It may not reflect activities that were taken that were in violation of law. I can tell you with the minimal number of financials that I've looked at, you can't take money out of general assistance and put it into your any other account. But it's been done here, and it's been done here routinely, and it needs to be returned. The law also recently changed that when it comes to the amount of money you have, and I'll use GA as an example, there's a cap now, 2.5 times a 3-year average of your expenditures. And I've mentioned this before. Ms. Quigley, I think you had made the comment, they're gonna take it away. Well, that's not what the law says.
They're taking it away from some funds. They are not, as far as I know, that has not passed yet as to whether the GA funds are gonna be considered a part of that.
Yeah,
I
it's
spoke
already
with
law,
Miss-
it's already passed. We helped
I-
write that. It's already passed, but my point is, there's a process when you exceed that limit to rebate that money. Look at those numbers, and if it is over that threshold, take the steps to rebate it back to the taxpayers, or reduce the levy, you know, in some fashion to start addressing that overtaxation. And it's not,
Already did that.
it's not,
The levy was dropped last year to a lower amount
because of the 2.5 time multiplier
because
that
I
you
was
didn't think was in
concerned
the law
about.
yet?
No, because I felt that the monies that we are expending is not great enough to be supported by the amount of taxation there
And
was
that's
incoming.
my hat's off to you for it, but if you do
Because I felt that
have,
it was just too much.
your auditor may not identify as accounts that have 2.5 times that threshold. If you have that, just take steps to fix that, take steps to address it, and be leaders in the area to help address that taxation, because like Susan mentioned, people are moving out, they're moving out of the state, and if we don't address putting tax money back in their pocket, they're gonna be gone. And again, I do thank you, and I mentioned this last time, more often than not, a positive interaction dialogue, and sometimes it can get heated, I get that, but it will, the grease will work. It will calm down, it will become easier, but ask yourself, where in the statute does it say I can do X, Y, Z? If you can't answer that question, table it until you get an answer to it. And that will avoid people coming back and saying, well, you did this and the law says you can't do it. It's a real simple question. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
One last person.
One last question.
One last question.
Yes, that's all. What I said, everything.
Pardon me?
I said, that's what I said.
I get my 3 minutes, I believe.
I
Go fast.
didn't say that.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Strassen. You've given us the most information in months. I really do appreciate you putting yourself out there and answering those questions. I'd like to know, are we paying the lawyer tonight to be here?
There's a silence again.
Are we
How
paying?
about you answer?
So we're paying $195 an hour for you to be here?
Yes.
So what's the
Okay.
difference between $400 for her, or $500, or travel expenses, and a policeman? Was that approved beforehand that a lawyer were here?
That was.
I don't believe it was on the agenda to approve for a lawyer bill.
I've never been at a township, I represent over 50 townships, and I've never been at a meeting where someone needed to approve in advance for an attorney to come to.
Why do we feel a need for an attorney to be here tonight?
I think there's a lot of concern even among the people here that the board is doing things that are not legal.
I think
So
you told us that last December, and nothing's changed.
And we haven't been coming to the meetings, I mean, we're trying to.
So it takes a paid consultant last time to speak during our meeting, and actually, I don't mean to be rude, he was kind of rude. He stood up there and he was very arrogant, and he gave an 8-minute dissertation on what the township, he wanted to give a little presentation, but it was more rude to us. It was, for your
Degrading.
knowledge, pardon me, go ahead.
Degrading.
It was very degrading. He stood up there and he said he wanted to give a presentation, but it was more directed at us that we had done things wrong, and he wanted to give them some knowledge or some training, which leads me to the fact that we're paying for this TOI convention, and I've gotten several emails, FOIAs, believe it or not, from when Ms. Lyday was clerk. And in there, Ms. Kennedy was offered free training. You offered people to come to the building, and she said no. So that's in the emails, Joanne. I will print them out for you.
I'm not saying anything.
Also, a $200 spinner from SC Spinners in Wilmington. We're paying for a $200 spinner for the park, which, has anyone seen a $200 spinner at the park? And-
I think if you look at the transaction report, you will see that was a steel saw. It wasn't a spinner. And this SC spinner is what they use on their things.
Did we get the
It's
chance?
So
Evans,
when I
it's
FOIA'd
Evans.
it, why was
Not
there
true.
no?
It
I got no
It
such
was
records.
FOIA
Not true.
and that's the documentation that is on their billing. That's how they put it
When
out.
I
It is
FOIA'd,
Evans
what
Garden.
is the
Thank you.
item on
Hang
the
on,
SC
went
spinner, and I
around,
got
mixed
no
different designs.
such records. So wouldn't that have
But the
just
records
answered
are
my,
only SC spinner, that's what it says on it.
so why didn't you say it was a saw blade? I asked what the item was for
That's not
$200
what it
It's
for
on,
an SC
it's
spinner.
on,
He
I
owns
was
two
told
companies.
no such records exist. Again, no transparency,
okay.
leading
I will
to
make
more
sure that you
questions,
got that
leading to
because
more doubts.
The documentation is there.
$200 saw blade?
And we buy
No,
$500 toilet seats too.
It's a chainsaw, a
Again,
steel saw.
That's a damn cheap chainsaw then.
$75 per plaque at the park. I again saw an email from Kathy Kennedy presented to you. Joanne, I left a receipt on your desk, make sure the board pays it. So she went out and purchased 6 $75 plaques to be put on free donated picnic tables, and you guys just paid it. I guess that's what Ms. Lyday is trying to say. I'm talking, please let me finish. I guess that's what she's trying to say. Bill, you listen to me. Mr. Welchko, are you listening to me? Are you, before you guys put this $3,000 system on, also Ms. Lyday said, this township does not, the hall side does not own this building, the road district does. It was illegal if he signed it over. It was illegal. It needs to be retracted. It's not legal. So you guys cannot put a security system on a building that the road commissioner owns. $3,000, you guys should be thinking about that money. And second of all, we've been going to these township meetings for 2.5 years now, since the appointed road commissioner closed our road. We didn't have security here, we didn't have a sergeant of arms. Believe me, there was lots of people that wanted to strangle somebody, but we didn't have police, we didn't have security cameras. So why all of a sudden, may I ask, since someone's appointed as clerk, there's all of a sudden someone else in the building with her, and now we need a security system?
There was a security system, by the way, there were cameras there, they were
So
outside.
we FOIA'd who got
Because if you remember,
harassed.
there was a capture of someone who was stealing gasoline, and that was in the paper. And the pictures were there.
When was that, what year?
It was outside.
Last year, yeah, there was cameras outside, there was security there.
All right, but we're talking about the inside now, that people feel threatened, people feel harassed. I think Mr. Allen said to Carol last month, FOIA the harassments. Who's been harassed in this building? What women don't feel safe alone in this building until a certain clerk got hired? And I'd like to know what 30-year-old person has to bring their father to work. What are the rules of a 30-year-old having to bring their dad to work? And I will show you the video, Mr. Strassen. She's on the floor, he's got a camera, and they're photographing files. There was no box being moved. And when I called Miss Quigley about it, I was very upset, and her answer to me was, well, Mick had the camera, he didn't. Really? Did she bother to even listen to me? No, she did not. He had a camera around his neck, and he was snapping it, calling him a pedophile. And 2 days later, Carol came, and you know what his first thing he said to her was, hey Carol, would you rather have me have a camera or a gun?
Yep.
Now that is scary.
And he's allowed in
If you
here.
want, yeah, and he's allowed in here after he was,
And all I did was walk in the
all
building.
she did was walk in here, and she had her camera on for her own safety, her own panic button. And he looked at there and he snapped her pictures and he said, hey Carol, would you rather have me have a camera or a gun? Now what kind of person is that to belong in this building?
Can I ask?
Sure, please.
So now, if we put the security in here like we're talking about, there'll be no question on what happened with anything, will there?
Correct, but do we really need to spend $3,000?
The proof's already there, Bill. They
We already
proof.
got the camera over the door outside.
Watch mine.
You just said that.
Just saying, we put cameras in here, there should be no question.
But
If we put cameras in here, it would be.
can I save you $3,000? Keep him
Sure.
out. Keep him out of there. Keep him out of here.
Yep.
Well,
Keep him out of here. He is a public person that was not voted in again. He's not any better or any worse than any of us.
I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think we can say, gee, John, you can't come back in here anymore.
Can I tell you, Mr. Strassen,
Can we, Mr. Allen?
Well, that would be a
how come the
question
park
for you.
Can
ranger
we
had,
exclude a resident from
Can we-
all right,
entering?
But no, you can't exclude.
all right, so
anybody.
how come the park ranger,
Ask
how come the park ranger brought it up that she wanted Cody J banned from the park and
Right,
she
but
was
we
allowed
told
to
her
do
she
it?
couldn't do
That's a
it.
different
No, she
issue.
couldn't.
That's
She
a
wasn't
different,
allowed.
All right, so
Well,
there's
well,
security cameras
There
out
is a
there.
policy for misbehavior at the park that would include being banned.
So there's
for
misbehavior.
a period of time if you read the
Mr.
policy.
Allen, when you asked him last month what he did here, and he said, I only pick out the trash, I don't do anything, I only pick out the trash.
No, you have to have.
When she was asked what he's doing in here, I have it on tape. She says, I don't let him buy anything when I'm here. Did you guys all see the tape? And he said, I only take out the trash. Why is he in that room with the camera? And finally, I'll try to add up, how are we supposed to get any of our questions answered? We got a 30-year-old clerk with her dad coming with her to work. Now all of a sudden we have a security system because there's harassment, which she told the police falsely that she works for the county. He told the police he's the road commissioner. Did you guys see all this? He said he was an elected
Cindy, do you have
official.
anything else,
Was
please?
Yeah,
that
she
another
called-
police
Another
report?
topic.
She called in a
We're
false
gonna
police.
leave this one.
I'm telling you about me. She called in a false police report about me, putting her picture on Facebook. Called the Wilmington police here.
Okay.
Are we gonna be billed for that now too?
I,
And if she's under
Do you
legal
have another?
representation, Miss Carrie,
Okay.
are you representing her tonight that she can't speak? Are you her representative that she can't speak?
I represent the
township, and that includes all officials.
So are you the
So-
reason that she's not speaking
so-
tonight?
Cindy,
I think
I
the
think-
board is trying to address questions that are being presented in a
When we have
respectful manner.
answers.
It sounds like some of the comments you're making are like personally directed to the clerk. I mean, so,
Well, I mean, she personally called the police on a false report on me. Okay, I got called at my home.
Was that another false report?
It was another
Yes.
I
false
was just
police
checking.
report. So I'm asking right now, is Ansel Blake representing Sarah Norton?
She represents the township.
So now
Okay.
we don't pay police bills, but we pay, everyone else got to go over their time, so don't pick on
I
me, Joanne.
understand that.
And
I
you know
just
what, I've
wanted you to
about
move
had it
to
with your
another
facial
topic.
gestures too, ma'am.
I'm asking that you move on to another topic.
I'm trying
That's
to
all I'm
say that my life has been interrupted since this person has come into the building. And since her father brings her to work here. I mean, it's interrupted all of our lives. We don't need the extra stress in these meetings. We didn't need it as a public, we don't need it as a township. And if he's out cutting grass every day, how is he supposed to get her to work to come answer these FOIAs? Is there any requirement on the clerk to be here a certain amount of hours when all these 29 FOIAs are pending? How much is she required, is she required at all to answer any of these FOIAs, or what's the deal? Are we waiting for this free person to come help her?
I believe she has answered some because I've gotten copies of some.
No, you have answered them.
I was told I'd have them in a few weeks, I still don't have them, it's been approaching 2 months.
I mean, there's been nothing answered, nothing. You're the one who put out the thing, you must present the record. Have you showed her that tape? Maybe you should show her that tape, that'd be free. I got that on audio, you must present the record.
Even though you don't like it.
Anything else?
It is a cute video.
Anything else?
You must.
Seriously, Joanne, we have all tried. Back 2.5 years ago, when we were trying to speak to you, and Mr. Allen was trying to give you the time of day, you would not accept it. He told you are not the record keeper, you told him you are risk management, you are the enchilada. He was giving you free advice from the statutes because he knows the law. Now we're paying $17,500 for a lawyer, and it's gonna go way over that, I can promise you that. It's just started with the law bills, let me tell you. So you can choose to open up your eyes and quit rolling them at everyone, and listen. You are not very courteous. You are not very courteous, which makes us not very courteous.
Thank you.
I have a quick legit question. Did the gentleman that asked for general assistance last month get his
Oh, yeah,
help?
I missed that on my thing. He had, it was Travis's brother, he had missed 4 meetings and he refused to give the documents that are needed for it. That's why he was refused.
Okay.
Did John officially quit
I
tonight
put him to
now?
work.
We have that on the film?
Okay.
I put it in work, so he's buying groceries anyway.
But that was the problem at that point.
Yeah, I just wondered, he asked for it, and I just didn't know if anybody
Yeah, you
got
can't
it.
just get it, you
No, I
gotta
know.
have some forms
She
and
said that they had a meeting, or we're gonna have a meeting.
4 of them, 4 of them I missed.
And he never showed up to that meeting on Monday either.
When's
We had
that?
to officially
He
adjourn.
missed 4 meetings that were
And he was
scheduled.
out, what's that road they live on?
Angle?
You know, I'm
He
sorry.
was out there.
Make the motion.
You know what,
And I talked to
give me
Mr.
one more
Don.
second. So when they talked about the park, I just want to put it out here for you guys that are remaining, okay? There's money going through that park, okay? When you look at something like Dixon, or as an accountant, when there's cash flowing through, and it's not, I mean, it's impossible to account for, you might want to go with Kathleen to clean out the boxes, or you might want to go with, if nothing else, to protect her. Because I'll tell you where the mind goes. All this money's floating around at the park. What's happening to it? Because they won't tell us. We can't see the bank deposit. You know, we don't, I FOIA'd receipts. There's no records. I know there's records. There's a book back there with records in them, okay? Why don't you want to give them to me? Because I'll tell you what, I'm going to take those records and I'm going to match them to the bank statements. And they're not going to match. And so then what's somebody going to think? They're going to think, huh, there's either more money or there's less money. What happened to it? So as a board, and for her sake, you know, look at protecting her. If you know, she's collecting, and I'll say they're illegal because I don't think the statute allows us to charge for the township park. But if y'all are giving her the authority to collect money, you think about what kind of position she's in by being the one to do that. Okay, that's all, sorry. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Can I have a motion?
for, if
Sorry,
everybody's
Rich?
ready, I'd like to say goodnight to everybody and sleep on some of this. Thank you for coming tonight. your patience and all. If it's, be okay, we're not gonna solve everything tonight, if we, say goodbye for now and, take this up on our next meeting and Bill and, the board members where they can, help get you some of these answers that, is that okay?
Is that a motion?
That's all we're asking
Thank you.
for.
Can I ask one question to you, Mr. Welko, before you close? Is there actually a signed formal resignation from John Smith? He said there wasn't one at the door.
There's-
You told us so.
Yes.
Or does she
There
get
is.
paid when she walks out?
I'm more curious, was it a signed resignation?
I don't know.
Yeah, make
There
a
is.
motion.
And to be
Okay.
a resignation.
Yeah. Make a motion.
I move that we adjourn the meeting tonight.
And I'll second that.
And I'll third
All
it.
30.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank
It's
you.
time for tequila.
Straws and
Yes.
Bye.